Okay, I can see people are joining. So let's give it a minute. Yeah. Hello, everyone, and welcome. We're about to start, just waiting for a few more people to join in. Okay, so let's get started. In the meantime, hello everyone, and welcome to today's Gala webinar. My name is Isabella Massardo. I'm content strategist here at Gala. And today's webinar is presented by Moga Mohammed and Alia Mahmoud from the SaudiSoft team. They'll introduce themselves in a minute, but I just want to remind you, we have a Q&A at the end of today's presentation. So feel free to use the Q&A box to submit any questions you might have for our speakers. And I would invite you to do it throughout the presentation as you think of them. As always, the webinar will be recorded, and I will send you a follow-up email with a link to the recording as soon as it is available on our website. I'm going to leave the floor to Moga and Alia.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. This is Moga and Alia from SaudiSoft. Thank you for taking the time and being here today with us. Hopefully, our webinar can give you a closer look into the Arabic language and into the Middle Eastern market. This webinar will be beneficial for companies who are looking to localize their projects into the Arabic language for the Middle Eastern market. In this webinar, we'll be sharing with you some insights about the Arabic language, and we will give you a quick introduction to the Arabic diacritics and how they can play a big role in your localization projects. We will also be talking about the different Arabic dialects and how to group them, and what's the recommended dialects to use as opposite to the modern standard Arabic. We will discuss some key factors that you should know when you consider localizing to the Middle Eastern market and the importance of understanding the Arabic culture. We will look into common critical bi-directional language issues and common mistakes we have seen in the industry, and we will give you some tips and tricks on how you can recognize those mistakes without being an Arabic speaker. And last but not least, you will learn more about a free solution tool that can identify quality issues found in bi-directional languages. So we will try to make this webinar as engaging as possible. So let's start with a quick activity. Here are basic 4 facts about the Arabic language. Please let us know how many facts of those 4 facts did you hear before. So Isabella, if you can start the poll.
Yeah, I think everybody should be able to see it now. So the question is, how many facts from the below did you hear before? And it's a multiple choice, so you can choose 1, 2, 3, or 4. Let's see. Let's give it a couple of seconds.
Okay.
Don't cheat, be honest. Okay. A few more people need to vote.
Perfect.
I think you can see the percentage going up and down, right? Moga and Alia?
I can't see it yet.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Okay, 10 seconds and then I'm going to close it. All right, I'm going to close the poll. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and here are the results. So we have, everybody said Arabic is a right to left language. And then some people said official language is in more than 20 countries, more than 400 million speakers, and there are no capital letters in Arabic.
Yeah, good. Yeah, so great. Actually, some of you know some good information about the Arabic language, and this is great. So yes, Arabic is not left to right language like English. Arabic is a right to left language where writing starts from the right of the page and continues to the left. Also, as known, Arabic is a bi-directional language with both writing scripts with different directions, left to right and right to left. And this could happen when writing numbers in the Latin shapes in the Arabic script. We will talk more about the bi-directional Arabic common issues later in the upcoming slide with Ali. Also, Arabic nowadays is the official language in more than 20 countries and considered as the sixth most spoken language with more than 400 million speakers. Also, those who work in Arabic localization projects, you might notice that Arabic text could expand compared to the English text. And as a fact, you can always expect approximately 30% text expansion in the Arabic script as compared to English. Another important fact to know that you don't need to use the caps lock key in your keyboard when you are typing Arabic, as there are no capital letters in Arabic. Also, Arabic doesn't support abbreviations. It's known that Arabic is one of the languages that have large number of words and expressions. Let's take the word friend as an example. There are different words in Arabic that can be used to describe the word friend depending on the depth of your relationship with your friend. For example, your friend that you consider like a spiritual double, a soulmate, can be called as Khalil, but we can use different words when we'd like to describe the one we consider as a best friend, like the chosen one over other friends. And there is another different word that we can use for those who are like our companion in nightly conversations. And there are a lot of other different words that can be used as well. So as you can see, that Arabic has a rich vocabulary and different expressions that can be used to describe one word. When it comes to numbers in Arabic language, it can either be written with Arabic number Latin shape or Arabic Hindi numbers, the use of which varies among countries and regions and even among areas within the same country or region. What we have noted recently is most e-commerce websites use Latin shapes. And one of the important facts to remember is that numbers in Arabic localization are not mirrored. So moving to one of the Arabic important features that affect localization and what should take into consideration when localizing to Arabic language is Arabic diacritics. So as a quick introduction with Arabic diacritics, which is also known by text diacritization, they are small characters that are written below or above the letter to indicate how to pronounce it. It can change the meaning and the sound of the letter, like the one written in the table in the Arabic column. Each sign mentioned in the table has different effect on the word and can make a huge impact in the meaning of the word. Although you can see the same letter in the 3 rows, however, each one has a different pronunciation because of different diacritics written above or below the letter. So as you can see that Arabic diacritics could affect your localization project. Either it's a dubbing voiceover project or to clear ambiguity in written translation projects. And it could affect the efficiency of speech recognition in text-to-speech programs as well. So to know the effect of the diacritics in the Arabic language, here are 2 examples of words that have the same letters but with different diacritics. As you can see that the 2 words have the same Arabic characters. The diacritics, which is the sign that you see in the Arabic word, is localized in different position, and because of that, the 2 words have different meaning and sounds. The one in your right hand, which has 2 signs above, means a flag. However, the other word has 2 signs above and 1 below means to know, and both have different pronunciation. So that's why it's very critical and important to take care of the Arabic diacritics, especially when it comes to performing Arabic voiceover. And this is why it's necessary while recording your voiceover projects to have a language monitor that monitors the pronunciation of words in a way that can distinguish words from each other in your script. So the meaning and pronunciation of a word is greatly influenced by diacritics, and it's not necessary to use the diacritics for all Arabic words. We use it when the word can be read in several ways. So to summarize, Arabic diacritics plays a critical role when it comes to Arabic MSA localization projects, and it's used in written translated projects to clear ambiguity. It's important to have language monitor for Arabic MSA dubbing projects to monitor the pronunciation of words in a way that can distinguish words from each other in your script. And as discussed, it could also affect the efficiency of the text-to-speech programs as well. So as some of you may know, that Arabic language has a wide variety of dialects, and sometimes it's a bit confusing for some people, especially non-native speakers. As a side note, before we speak about the recommended Arabic dialects to use for your project, I would like to confirm that the recommended dialects that we will present in this webinar are based on our recommendations and our experience and our knowledge of our culture. And there is no dialect is a must to use, as it's always based on many factors that we will discuss later in this webinar. And to better understand the Arabic dialects and to simplify it, we can divide the Arabic language dialects into MSA dialect, which we will talk later in depth in the upcoming slides, and we have local dialects. So going back in time, while the Arabic language spread through different Middle Eastern countries, it mixed with the local language of those countries. And therefore, different Arabic dialects were developed through time. This local changes formed the base of many Arabic dialects, and by time, many factors played a significant role in changing those dialects to become the dialects that are spoken today. And simply, those factors can be colonization or regional variation dialects. Accordingly, local Arabic dialects can differ quite significant from country to another. So there are quite variation among the Arabic dialects, and how good Arabs understand each other depends on the geographic distance of their dialects and exposure. For example, Moroccan, Algerian, and Tunis dialects are quite similar compared to other dialects, as geographically they are neighboring countries where they are located in North Africa, and they have some common colonial history. And the same geographic factors applies for Syrian, Lebanon, and Jordan, and also it applies for Gulf countries as well. And we also have the Egyptian dialects. It's not really grouped in a certain group. It could be understood by different dialects, as historically it was the dialect used in media. And we have many other local dialects as well. So moving to MSA dialect. MSA stands for Modern Standard Arabic. It refers as eloquent speech, light fusha. It's understood by all Arab countries beside their local Arabic dialect. MSA is the dialect used in learning Arabic in Arab schools, and it's also the recommended dialect to learn for non-native learners, as it will help non-native speakers to understand many other Arabic dialects. So the common question that we get a lot from our clients is, which is the preferred Arabic dialect that we should use in our Arabic project? And to better assist you determine which dialect you should use, we would need to identify the below factors. First, when it comes to localizing any content into the Middle Eastern market, we need to identify what's the content domain, the purpose of the content, and what message you want to deliver to whom. For example, if the translation will be used in a formal context, we would recommend to go with MSA. But if it's for marketing purpose, we would suggest to go with the dialect of the spoken country, as this will make it easier to deliver your marketing message to the correct target segment. So talking about the domains, when it comes to newspaper and broadcasting news, we would recommend to use MSA, as the Arabic written in a newspaper in Lebanon is the same as the Arabic written in a newspaper in Egypt, KSA, or Kuwait, or any other Arabic country. And the same applies when it comes to broadcasting news. MSA, the dialect used for any official education material as well. Also, it's the official dialect used in medical documents, reports, medicine leaflet, and it's used for legal documents and formal speeches. So we can say that's most likely used for written formal communication. What's really important to know is that we don't use it in day-to-day verbal communication. However, we all can understand it, either it's written or spoken, but we don't use it for verbal communication. So we don't recommend using it when it comes to TV and social media advertisements, unless you would like to promote your product or service in a formal way. A real example for social media ad on Instagram for Pepsi, the written content in the design on your right hand was published at Pepsi Egyptian page on Instagram. And the text written in the photo is written in the Egyptian dialect, while the content written in the photo that was published in the Pepsi Saudi Arabia page was in a Gulf Saudi Arabia dialect. And even the video ads was in Egyptian dialect in the Egyptian page and in Gulf dialect in the Pepsi Arab page. Although we have also seen companies that may localize their TV and social media advertisements into MSA, but we would recommend to you the country's dialect, as this will make it easier for you to get the attention of the desired targeted market segment, as we mentioned before. So if you are localizing a website and you are targeting different Arab countries, the best way would be using the MSA dialect, and this would be acceptable for different Arab countries. Here is H&M websites for United Arab Emirates and Egypt. And both websites are written in MSA dialect. Even if you cannot understand what's written, but you can see that words are almost the same and both screenshots are identical. And when it comes to movies, we noticed that most of the movies are localized either in Syrian or MSA dialect, while animations are localized into MSA and Egyptian dialect. Some animation production companies used to choose the Egyptian dialect, but it changes after a while to MSA and Egyptian dialects. So to summarize, we would recommend to use modern standard Arabic dialects for newspaper and broadcasting news, localizing official speeches, official educational material, medical and legal documents, books, websites, official documents. And based on our observation, we would recommend to use MSA for video games as well. We would suggest to you the country dialect if your project is for social media marketing advertisements, TV ads, and for movies and series for dubbing services. So as you can see, the domain and the subject of the project, along with the segment you are targeting, can have a great effect on choosing the right Arabic dialect. And whenever you are confused, you can easily get back to your localization company and they will advise you which dialect you should select. So this was a quick explanation about the Arabic dialects and diacritics. We now will move with Alia to discuss more about what to consider when localizing to the Middle Eastern market.
So in this section, we will speak about what to consider when you're looking to localize into the Middle East. So just to give you some background information about the region, first, weekends are different based on the different countries. So for example, weekends in Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Qatar are on Fridays and Saturdays, while weekends in the United Arab Emirates, Lebanon, Morocco, Tunisia are on Saturdays and Sundays. So Arabic is not the only language spoken in the region. Other languages spoken include Turkish, Persian, Hebrew, English, French, and Kurdish. We also have several important holidays that include Ramadan, Eid al-Fitr, Eid al-Adha, and Christmas. So Ramadan is a very important holiday around the region, which is mainly a religious event where Muslims around the world fast for a month from dawn until sunset. It's a time where people refrain from food and from water, and it's time to get together and share meals with your family and your friends. It's also a time to devote themselves to prayer, charity, volunteering, performing righteous works, and feeding the poor or sharing food in general. Ramadan doesn't always start on the same date each year, and instead, over time, it passes through all the seasons. So Ramadan is the 9th month in the Islamic calendar, which is a lunar calendar based on the cycles of the moon. And when the crescent moon is visible, that is the signal of the start of Ramadan. So in Ramadan, employees' working hours are shortened to around 6 hours or less, so they can make it in time for iftar, which is the name used to describe the time that people break their fast. So during Ramadan, we observe a difference in human behavior. We have observed an increase in online spending or e-commerce, an increase in gaming time, and also an increase in TV or media consumption, which could be a good time for you to localize your e-commerce platforms, your video games, and even your TV shows. So after the holy month of Ramadan comes to an end, and after a crescent new moon has been sighted, comes the big celebration, which is Eid al-Fitr, which is one of the 2 major religious holidays of the Muslim calendar. Generally, it's a family-oriented holiday where you get together and you celebrate, and it's also a time for people to buy new attire, which can also be an important point to consider when you're looking to localize your e-commerce platforms for the Middle East. So Eid al-Adha is another holiday, and it's celebrated just over 2 months later, which is considered the big festivity, which lasts around 4 days. As for Christmas, both Western and Eastern Christmases are celebrated around the region. Some celebrate Western Christmas on the 25th of December, and some celebrate Eastern Christmas, which is on January 7th. In all of these celebrations, family, heritage, and food is very important. So another big topic you should always consider when you're localizing into the Middle East is censorship. So some cultural sensitivities include inappropriate clothing, sexual content or LGBT matters, content that encourages violence, depictions of alcohol or drug use, or sensitive content in general that includes either political, moral, and religious opinions. We've witnessed several games and movies in the past which have been banned around the Middle East due to these reasons, so should always handle these topics with care. So the Middle East in the past few years has witnessed rapid digital acceleration, which has made technology the cornerstone in most businesses. This is mainly due to smartphone adoption, which has witnessed an increase and is still expected to increase to 84% to 2025. Mobile internet users has also increased and exceeded around 300 million users in 2021. Although internet speed isn't at the top attribute in the region, but it is an attribute that internet providers have been looking to increase. We have just seen one country from the region that is ranked as the #1 globally in internet speed, and that is the UAE. We see the results of this technology and digitalization in social media figures as well. So 2 countries from the Middle East, the UAE and Saudi Arabia, are among the top 20 countries with social media users around the world. Of course, not every country uses the same social media platforms. So in this slide, you can see that the usage of 6 different platforms from 3 different countries. We've looked at Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and United Arab Emirates. And just to note that these numbers are obtained from We Are Social reports for 2022. So you can see, for example, that Facebook and YouTube are the preferred social media platforms for Egypt and for the UAE. And Twitter and YouTube are the preferred social media platforms in Saudi Arabia. So it's important to mention some of the booming industries in the region. We've observed growth around the region, especially in the UAE and Saudi Arabia when it comes to e-commerce. Recently, Amazon acquired a regional company named Souq.com, and it is witnessing high returns in the Middle East. Also, e-commerce platforms that sell retail and fashion are also on the top of the list. As for gaming, it is one of the industries in the Middle East that has witnessed exponential growth. Many game publishers have put localization efforts into this region, especially when it comes to localization into Arabic and Turkish. So in Saudi Arabia alone, there are around 21.1 million gamers. And also esports consumption is also estimated to reach $6.8 billion by 2030. As for media, there has been a recent introduction of Disney Plus with dubbed animations and subtitled movies in Arabic, which poses as one of the biggest competitors to Netflix in the region. We have also seen the localization of Spotify, and this localization strategy, includes a more specific strategy version for the Middle East, which we will elaborate more in the upcoming slides. So of course, one of the main questions that we receive from our clients is how they can incorporate local aspects in localization. And here are some examples. So the first point to consider when you're localizing is to localize your social media platforms into Arabic. So as stated earlier, social media usage is very high in the region, and you may consider localizing your posts on a specific platform based on the country you are targeting. So companies use social media platforms in the Middle East as a marketing method to influence users' decisions. Your marketing campaign can influence users to either accept or reject a product or a service. So if your posts do not take any of the cultural sensitivities into consideration, it may be banned and it can cause a negative association to your brand. Another way of including local aspects in your localization work is hiring celebrities to engage with your product or your service. So in this below example, you can see the chocolate brand Snickers. It has opted to include celebrities in their branding in Egypt. So they used Betty White when they aired their commercial in the US, but used an Egyptian celebrity when localizing their commercial for Egypt. Snickers ads were also localized for the Saudi Arabian market, and here they have the same slogan, which is "You are not you when you're hungry," localized in the Egyptian dialect and also the Saudi Arabian dialect. In Egypt, using celebrities is the highly used sales method, but in Saudi Arabia, their slogan was mainly the selling point. So here you can see an example of Spotify and how the image and the titles are localized. So on the right for the Egyptian market, it includes a title which translates as "Let's Dance." But on the right for the Saudi Arabian market, it's translated as "Let It Go." So it is localized in this way because dancing has always been a huge part of the Egyptian culture. So other examples of how Spotify used local aspects, including images of their national dress code for Saudi Arabia, which is specifically used for Saudi Arabian music. Of course, if you're accessing Spotify in Egypt, for example, artists from Egypt will be showcased as compared to when you're accessing it from Saudi Arabia. Another medium that also uses celebrities is games. So here are 3 examples of games: Free Fire, PUBG, and Shadow of the Tomb Raider, which we were actually responsible for localizing, that has been chosen to include celebrities in their games. So for PUBG and for Free Fire, both celebrities are Egyptian, and one includes them as a voiceover artist, while the other had an actual character in the game based on the celebrity. As for the Shadow of the Tomb Raider, the celebrity was Lebanese, and her voice was used as for the main character of Lara Croft. Also in games and in e-commerce platforms, we've witnessed them incorporating holidays and giving their users a sense of understanding for the festivities. For example, some games include icons such as lanterns, which is a usually highly used icon which symbolizes Ramadan. Other gaming publishers include skins and discounts during that period. Also, you can see that e-commerce platforms understand that Eid, as stated earlier, is a time where people choose to wear new clothes and decide to commercialize their offerings with clear statements about the holidays and discounts as well. So the last model that we will show, the last example that we will show for showing local aspects is one that's commonly used around the world, of course, which is showing models that users can relate to. So in this example, you can see that each continent or area has specific models that are showcasing the product. So moving on to our next topic, which is quite a popular one, we will be discussing mainly issues in Arabic localization and how, as a non-native, you can recognize some of these mistakes. So one of the biggest issues in Arabic localization arises from it being a right-to-left language. So for right-to-left languages, content should always be right-aligned and the reading order should start from right to left. So in this example, you can see how a typical Arabic paragraph should look. In this slide, you can see a side-to-side portrayal of the difference between the Arabic version and the English version. And the reading starts from the right side, and you can also see that the icons or the bullet points are also flipped to start on the right side. So in order to be able to pinpoint the mistakes of Arabic localization, these 2 are examples of it being localized incorrectly. So the first picture on the right isn't right aligned, and it is clear from the 2nd, the 4th, the 7th sentence, as you can see, that the sentences start mid-page. And the left picture also portrays some similar issues where the sentences are also not right aligned. So one way to clearly and to easily identify that there's an issue is that you will always find, if it's incorrectly localized, that the period signs will be on the right side, but it always has to be at the end of the sentence, which is on the left side. We also see several errors, especially in symbols like the question mark and the percentage, where the question mark in Arabic is mirrored and the percentage sign always comes after the number on the left. So this example showcases the mistakes that we usually see when it comes to errors in the percentage sign. So on the right picture, you can see that the percentage sign is on the right of the number, which is exactly how it would look in English, which isn't correct. But on the left side or the left picture, you will see that the percentage sign is on the left of the number, which is correct. Here is another example of issues that we see commonly used in Arabic localization. And the below are 2 images of the word Arabic in Arabic. So on the right side is the correct representation of the word, and on the left is the type of issues that we see, which is broken text. So Arabic is considered a cursive language where all the letters are connected. So once you see these broken letters, you can pinpoint that there is an issue. And this issue mainly arises from either copying and pasting, and most commonly that the tool or the font that's being used does not support the Arabic script. So Isabella, if you can please help us with the polls, as we have a few images and I would like to see people's responses. If you can just let us know which of the below images is correct.
Yeah, let's just give people a couple of seconds to look at the images, and then I'm going to launch the poll. All right, let's see. Okay, so is it A or is it B? Seems everybody's saying B.
Okay.
Okay,
Is that the final answer?
Let's count to 3. 1, 2, and 3. I'm gonna close the. Okay, so here are the results. 95% says B.
Okay, for those who answered B, you are correct. As we saw previously in the last example of the Arabic localized version, as compared to the English version, all the bullet points or the icons are shifted to the right. And also the first sentence starts from the right side and not from the left side as evident in picture A. Here's another example. Isabella, if you can also start a poll. This one is a bit challenging, but let's see how people do.
Okay, let's give it a couple of seconds so everybody can have a look at the pictures. Okay, here we go. Okay. Don't be shy, keep trying. Okay. 5 more seconds. And okay, I'm gonna close the poll. And here are the results. Most people said A.
Okay, that's perfect. So 95% said A, and A is correct. So in Arabic, you will always expect the menu of a website to be on the right side, and your view will usually be flipped. So although it would be understood if the menu is on the left side, as in picture B, but as an Arabic speaker and as a user myself, it may get a bit confusing, as the navigation menu should always be placed on the right side, where users are expected to start off reading. And last but not least, we have one more example.
Okay. Let's see. Here we go. Oh, I wonder if there are many Arabic speakers among the attendees. Why don't you guys write in the chat whether you can speak Arabic? Because everybody's answering correctly, so I'm starting to wonder. Okay, 5 more seconds. Okay, here we go. And the results. So 88% said B.
Okay.
And 12 said A.
Yes, so B is correct. And as stated earlier, Arabic is considered a cursive language where all the letters are connected. And in the figure A, you can see that the letters are broken up.
Okay. And I'm getting some answers in the chat. There are some Arabic speakers, but many are non-Arabic speakers. So
well, they're doing very well, which means it's working.
Okay.
Perfect. Well, lastly, we at SaudiSoft, we developed a free tool that anyone can use online that's able to detect bi-directional issues in text. And as you can see in the below example, the tool is able to identify that the question mark in the translated text is written incorrectly, and it automatically flags it as an issue. This tool is available for everyone, it's for free, and it's cloud-based, and it supports different kinds of files as well. So you can easily sign up by visiting tqs.saudisoft.com, and you will be able to use it straight away. So lastly, we'd like to finish off this webinar with some key takeaways. As we know, we've shared lots of information with you today, so we'd just like to summarize it for you. So one of the main points we discussed is that diacritics plays a huge role in localization, and they're used mainly to clear ambiguity in words that are written similarly. We also discussed that MSA is used more commonly in newspapers, legal, medical, and gaming material, while dialects are used in marketing and in commercials. There are also key holidays in the region that you should know of and that you should plan for when you're localizing for this region. And to risk banning and negative associations for your product and or your service, you should always consider censorship. There's a growth when it comes to technology and social media in the region over the years. And booming industries in the region include, but are not limited to, e-commerce, media, and gaming. Most importantly, we discussed how you can identify issues in localization, such as the broken text and errors in symbol. And lastly, we introduced TQS, which is a free tool that can help in detecting bi-directional issues in text. Thank you everyone for attending this webinar. And of course, we're more than happy to answer any of your questions.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, guys. It was really interesting. I see there are some, for example, let me check. Jose Palomares has some questions. So Jose, if that's okay, I'm going to open your microphone so you can talk directly.
Hello.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Sorry if you get a little bit of a background noise from me. So thank you so much for the presentation. Super useful. I think that's how we got the questions right on the quiz, on the poll. So I have a couple of questions. The first one that came out is like when you were actually describing the different days that are considered weekends. I was wondering, there is an overlap between like different countries. I wonder how that affects international relationships between those countries. If someone's not going to be working on a Friday, for instance, and someone is not going to be working on a Sunday, but the other countries are, how does this how do they interact? How do you solve that? Or you just have like 3 days in which communications are expected to be slow?
Okay, well, let me just give you a background of what we do in our company. So we have some of the team members working on Fridays and some of the and taking their holidays on Sunday. Just to be available for all of our clients. And some people actually take their holidays on Fridays and Saturdays. So it's always a mix, and it depends on your business and who you're doing business with and what countries you're doing business with. So I guess it's always a personal choice, or it's a company-based choice on which days are relevant for you. Does that answer your question?
It does. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, and Jose, you had another question, I see.
I did. I don't want to talk too much, but if I may.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So I just had a question on like software localization. We often like get really concerned when someone tell us it's the moment to do Arabic, and we're gonna have to do like right to left. And I was wondering if there's like any particular like caveats or challenges that you would like you would have to like take into consideration, that you would like highlight when it comes to software localization specifically.
Okay. Well, I guess specifically for software localization, having the help of a glossary would help greatly, as you would like to have your subject or your product localized the same across all of your manuals, for example. But in all cases, when we're looking for software translation, we look into MSA or localizing it into MSA, as Mohga described earlier. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you, Jose. And I see that Victoria also has a question, so I'm going to open your microphone. Victoria, if you want to speak directly with Moga and Alia, otherwise I'll read your question, no problem. Just go ahead.
Hi, thank you. Well, my question is regarding censorship, and how do you deal with like delicate content when like a game is being released in Arabic, and it has delicate content like LGBT or religious matters or something like that. I wanted to know, like, how do you deal with that?
Okay. We actually do get lots of questions from our clients concerning this. One of the main things that we do first is we play the game and we realize if there are any sensitive topics or any issues, and we always have to tell the client. So in this case, the client has an option to change. We can translate it in a different way, for example, to make it more ambiguous. So there are several different ways, but the first thing we have to tell our client that they risk the game getting banned. So it's not just changing the content of the game, but that there is a risk after all their hard work and after all the localization efforts that at the end it's going to be banned. So of course they have to know this from the start before the project begins.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay. Let's see if anyone else has other questions, but in the meantime, I'll ask you a question. And that is about numbers, because I was surprised you have Arabic numbers with Latin shape and Arabic Hindi numbers. So when do you use one? When do you use the others? You know, are there specific cases or content typologies?
Yeah. So for numbers, it depends on the country. For example, Saudi Arabia using Hindi numbers, and others such as United Arab Emirates using Latin shapes. And individuals users can also choose their preferred digits. And for example, for e-commerce websites, we have seen most in the region use English numbers.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope that I answered your question.
Sure. And you know, one of the things they always made me wonder, you know, we're talking about flipping the images, flipping the menus and the icons and everything. If you don't do that, how bad is it? I mean,
it's
you
like,
know, how critical, is it really a critical mistake, or is it something that people are going to say, oh, well, it's translated, so it can happen?
Yeah, some cases just Alia showed, like, for example, if the photo is not flipped and the content is still on the left side, it's obvious that there's a mistake here. There's something wrong here. So yeah, it's a critical issue. Actually, this is a critical issue, and to solve this issue, we do like a DTV, like just making sure that everything is on the correct layout. So this is we consider like a very critical issue. Yeah.
Okay, so it's something that we really need to keep.
We need to keep eye on.
Okay, exactly. Okay, and Hanan Ahmed said, corrected me, and thank you for doing that. He said, actually, what we refer to as Latin numbers are the original Arabic digits. Yes, I apologize. I know absolutely nothing about the Arabic language, so this is my very
Arabic
first.
Numbers. Yeah, there's like Arabic numbers in a Latin shapes, and there's a Hindi numbers there. So yeah.
Okay, thank you. But you also showed some content typologies like legal text, etc., and you were telling us what kind of dialects, what kind of variety you should use, but I didn't see anything for technical domain, like manuals for products, etc. What would you recommend?
For technical domain, we would suggest to go with MSA Direct, especially for products manual. But if your company or if the project would like to perform a video on how to use the product, in this case, I would recommend to use the local dialect of the target country by native speaker of the local country. But for written manuals, we prefer to go with MSA.
Okay, that's also interesting. And I have the final question, and then I'm going to shut up. And if someone else has questions, please type them in the chat. It's about the TQS. You said it's open source, so it's free and everybody can use it. Can you tell us a little bit what other features are included in the tool?
Yes, of course. So it's mainly, we decided to work on it basically for bi-directional issues. So for example, the percentage or the question mark error that we saw earlier, it can identify it. Also, it's not just for bidirectional issues, it's also for common quality issues. So missing translations, looking at spelling and punctuation, repeated words, for example, URL mismatches. So there are lots of different things. I guess when you sign up for it, it gives you more or less a brief or lots of different features of the tool and what it can actually help in solving.
Okay, and so of course, if someone wants a demo, wants to talk to you about it, they can always contact you.
Yes, of course. Yeah, it's our pleasure.
Your information is on the screen right now, and we can share the slide deck with the public.
Yes, of course.
Okay, excellent. So we'll upload the presentation together with the recording. Okay, I don't see any other questions, but Moga and Alia, thank you so much. It was mighty interesting and I learned a lot, and I'm sure that many others will agree with me.
Our pleasure. Thank you so much. It was our
Very
pleasure.
welcome. Please come back with more information about Arabic localization, and thank you to all the participants for attending and for engaging with us. We would appreciate it if you could just take a moment to give us your feedback. So when I close the webinar, you will see a post-event survey. It really takes you 10 seconds, but your feedback is very helpful for us and it'll help us refine our webinar program. So, and before we log off, I want to remind you, we have 2 more webinars in September. We have a webinar on September 22nd with the Pangeanic team on data and anonymization. And it's a free-for-all webinar. It's a sponsored webinar. And then on September 29th, we have the All Correct team talking about quality management with the help of users review. So thank you all for now, and have a good day, have a good evening, and I hope to see you to the next webinar. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.